to get on today
Ooh.
because you look hot. You're overheated. And I turned off the oven before you got home.
All right, we're on.
So, first rant, mini rant.
All right. So as I was saying, I was about to say earlier, then I stopped myself. Wear eyeliner today, right? And I made the mistake of wearing eyeliner at work for once. I don't wear any makeup at work just because it's a hassle and we have to wear masks, so there's no real point. But I thought I'd wear some eyeliner. And I'm always very polite, hi, how are you? Customer service. But there's a difference between being nice and flirting. And that is my biggest issue. When I go to work, I don't go there to be flirted with. And I went to work yesterday and I was doing curbside and I took the guy's money and he asked how I was. And I said, I was fabulous. And he said, oh, and pretty too. And it's like, whatever, that's fine. And he was like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? I was like, no. Oh, bet you're married though. And I was like, no. So I took my stuff and went in, got it, got his stuff, came back out. And he was just like, oh, so no boyfriend, huh? And I was like, no, like, leave it alone. Like, take the hint, buddy. Like, it's like there's a difference between being nice and me just like doing my job and not and like flirting. Like I'm not flirting. And then I had a couple other people do it too, and it wasn't just it wasn't just one person. It was like another guy. Oh, you have a great night too, cutie. What are you doing later? I just walk away. Do not
Don't
fucking talk to
engage.
me.
Don't engage.
Yeah, it's
Does
like
that does that happen when you're wearing makeup then? Or
it
does that
happened only when I was
period?
wearing makeup because I did curbside twice when I wasn't wearing makeup and it didn't happen and nothing happened then. So I'm assuming. I mean, correlation doesn't mean causation, but we're gonna go with that right now. We're gonna totally go with that. But that's my little mini rant. I'm not flirting. I'm just being nice. I'm being paid to do it. Don't assume I like you. I hate all people. You cut out. I can't hear you. What?
Oh, I love that. Don't assume I like you. Write that on a post-it and stick it somewhere on my desk.
Don't. I'm gonna write it down on my unicorn poster for you.
I hear that so often from my female friends that work in retail. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's part of your job, to be nice to people. But
Right.
at some point, I think there's got to be a limit, especially if you are being sexually harassed. Um, you know, but I also understand that there could be violence involved if you start, pushing back or whatever on, a creepy stalker. Um, but I mean, I don't know. It sucks that women have to go through that. It sucks that some men have to go through that. I've never
Yeah.
that I know of been sexually harassed without it being welcomed. So, but
Yeah.
then
I've
of
been
course it's
very
not
lucky
sexual
though.
harassment if I'm welcoming it. So
That's true. Then it's consensual.
yeah.
Definitely. But I mean, I'm lucky that I'm at work and I have a security guard literally like 10 feet from me. So that's a that's a plus. I don't have to deal with I could just fucking run. And what are they gonna do? Hop out their car, take their 5 hours to unbuckle their seatbelt, love their fucking ass out the car to chase after me? Fucking try me. I'll keep your money change as a tip, bitch. Fucking be weird.
The asshole tax.
Yeah, it's
There you
asshole
go.
tax. Fucking creep tax. I should do. When it's the older gentlemen, whatever. I usually let it slide. Like if they're like 100 years old, whatever, whatever. But if they're like mid 30s, it's like you're like my age. No, like that's just creepy. You're not from another generation. That's just my opinion on it. So I'm not gonna let it slide then.
All right, Cliff, what's
All
your
right.
mini rant?
Uh, I talk about this one on my Facebook page quite a bit, and it has to deal with technical support. Um, on the caliber of people that I help out in my job. So I work for a major retail company. I will not name them. Um, and I do technical support for them for all of the stores that we have. I also do support for France and the UK and Italy and Puerto Rico and Mexico. Yeah. And Canada. That's it, I swear.
Dang. Be sure.
um, we have a lot of managers that are younger than me. Actually, they're more in Kayla's range of age or younger. My major issue, and this is really just a personal gripe, really, I understand that this is not everybody's thing. One of the main things that I help people do, and it's literally from the IT crowd, have you turned it off and on again? So when I ask people, hey, we need to reboot your computer. Let's reboot your computer. I get, oh, well, I turned the screen on and off. Or that they're like, yeah, I'm turning my computer off. I'm like, okay, are you hitting the button on your screen or are you hitting the button on the little box next to your screen? They're like, oh, I'm hitting the button on my screen. That's my computer. I'm like, no. I get that so much. And it's from people that are younger than me that should have at least a basic working knowledge of a computer, at least to know the difference between your desktop and your monitor. Um,
Yeah, what the heck?
it's in so at least in between the generation of me and Kayla, that should be the thing. Below Kayla, it's going to be like, oh well, all of our mobile devices and stuff like this. And that's the other part of the store. We support our iPad registers and our mobile iPod registers. So and typically they do pretty good with those. They know how to use their phone. So it's all the same. Unless they're a hardcore Android user, and then they're just completely lost. But it's easy, Apple products are easy to walk people through.
Very basic.
So yeah, it's just, and then I get the excuse of, oh, well, I'm not computer savvy or I'm not tech savvy.
Not common sense savvy.
You're telling me you don't know that your screen is different than your computer?
Managers.
I'm sorry?
How were these people managers?
Well, they're good at most of the other stuff that they do. I mean, they've been working retail for long enough that, they can do scheduling, they can do inventory, they can do all the stuff that a manager needs to do. But trying to walk some of them actually are really good at what I ask them to do. I can walk them through pretty advanced tasks like, doing basic networking. If there's something wrong with the network setup in their store, I can walk them through the network rack and say, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, or plug this and unplug this. Some of them are good at that. They can follow instructions. It's the people that can't follow instructions that I have problems with. No matter how much I try and simplify it. Is I get well, I'm not tech savvy. Like, you don't have to be tech savvy. This isn't a
Like,
tech savvy
I'm trying to teach
thing.
you to be tech savvy.
Well, this is not really a tech savvy thing. It's you have two different devices. Unless you're running a laptop, which I know you're not in your store. So, it's
Oh my god.
I should be used to this because I've been doing IT technical support for 25 years. I should be used to these kind of things. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten more and more. It's one of the few things that I've gotten more and more impatient about. Not to mention the fact that I work, a lot of my colleagues are like 15 years younger than me. So a completely different generation. I had one actually call me a boomer the other day. I'm like, no, I'm a Gen Xer. He's like, you are? I'm like, yeah, I'm not that old, dude. I'm only 45.
Damn, he hit you right there.
Yeah.
Shit. It's okay. I think they had what was it? I'm trying to remember the band. Some like late 90s band on like throwback rock or something, or like early 2000s, and I was like, "Oh, throwback. What?
Oh yeah, I
Throwbacks?"
listened to
Oh.
93.7 and 94.7 all the time, and listening to the groups that I listened to religiously when I was a teenager and a young adult, having them on, the smooth rock station or the smooth pop station or the classic rock station really kicks you in the age. Yeah, I hear
I
Soundgarden
heard
on 90 or 94.7. I'm like, what is Soundgarden doing on 94.7? They should still be on 98 Rock.
my nephew asked me if I knew who Snoop Dogg was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like everyone knows who that is, even like generations like my mom's generation past.
Mm-hmm.
But the audacity of him to ask me if I knew who Snoop Dogg was just mind-boggling. I was
Oh,
like, dude, I'm not that old.
my kids know who Snoop Dogg is because me and mommy have tortured them with
Good.
Snoop and Dre and NWA, and you know I'm bouncing freaking Dre in the car with the kids in there, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?"
They like Lil Nas X. That's what my nephew's like.
See, and I don't like modern rap. I'm the I stopped listening to rap pretty much after Tupac died.
Damn.
Which
Tupac
he's
died,
not
the whole genre died with
he's
him.
not really dead. I mean, he just faked it. He's living with Elvis.
I was gonna say the
they're
same
all faking
thing.
They all got too tired of being famous, so they said, "Ah, fuck it, death."
So Brett is in the comments here, kibitzing in. I love his comments.
Oh
Kids
yeah, read
these
them for me. I can't
days,
read them.
am I right? And then he said, I saw Metallica on a classic rock list the other day.
Oh no.
Well, so this was the crazy thing. We watched Jungle Cruise, the Disney Jungle Cruise movie,
Okay.
which was incredibly fun. I actually really liked it. The puns were amazing. But the opening song is a classical version of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica.
Like a VSQ version?
What's VSQ?
Vitamin String Quartet.
A little bit more than that. Almost like it's like somebody sat down with a classical guitar and just played Nothing Else Matters.
Okay.
And I mean, if you know anything about that song, it's actually a ripoff of I think it's the Romanza, which is a Latin classical guitar song. But that song was in the beginning of that movie, and I made mention of that to the kids, and they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Don't
Like
you?"
Metallica, and
Well,
I know that song.
so they know who Metallica is, but they only know Metallica from like the last two albums that they put out. Not going back to like the early 80s when I was listening to Metallica. Because they sound so different now. And if you go back to like even just the Black Album, where I think that was the decline of their sound, it was still a good album, but they from that point on they were completely different.
Now, because I don't know Metallica, was that the Grammy contention album?
No, so when they lost to Jethro Tull,
Yeah.
yeah, that was And Justice for All,
Okay.
which was before the Black Album. But yeah, that was
Okay.
nuts. Like Jethro Tull won hard rock album. Well, Aqualung is an amazing album. Is it
But
hard rock? No, it's more progressive rock. So,
Okay, so my mini
Your
rant.
rant.
My mini rant. I'm gonna bring it real, okay? And it's not gonna win me a lot of fans, I think. Actually, I have
You
two,
already
so I'll
got
save the.
me.
I have the second one. I'm gonna save the second one for later. Um, California is on fire again. And if I have to hear one more person blame it on forest management, I'm gonna lose my ever loving mind.
You should
Like,
I'm blaming it on humans.
you should talk to Tara because she's got a great. She tore into me about it because I was blaming PG&E, which PG&E holds some of the blame, but
yeah.
she's actually got a really good defense rant for PG&E.
And I
I'd
mean,
be willing to hear this.
campfire, PG&E, got that. Okay. The fact that we lost power in the middle of my wedding, PG&E, that's all them. But the fire that took your sister's house, that took a friend of mine's house, uh, like I people in my office are blaming that on poor forest management, which just sounds like Trump era bullshittery to me.
Well,
Um,
go ahead and finish.
and it's like forests are supposed to burn. These forests are supposed to burn. They're not supposed to burn as bad as they are be- because it's just, what it is. Um People shouldn't be dying and losing their houses though. And I feel like fact that, the fire that was going on in South Lake Tahoe due to some chick in a bikini having a good time.
That was hilarious.
Like
It's awful, but it was hilarious.
how many acres did that burn because some chick wanted just to have a good time?
Right? Yeah.
She
You
needs to
know?
sell her pics for to raise money for that forest, I think.
And when the people in my office were saying, "Oh, well, it's just poor management of the forest." I asked them like, "Okay, so what is proper management of the forest?" "Oh, go out there and clean stuff up." With what? A fucking garden rake?
With what money too?
Like you realize that these are federal forests, and that means money from the federal government. And the parks and
Some
forest and park,
wreck.
something like that.
Parks and
Um,
Recreation.
Thank you. They just get gutted every single budget cycle. So, like, what the fuck? I don't have an answer, which is probably why this is a rant. Um,
Now I know why.
it's just, uh, I live in California. I've lived in California almost my entire life. I say almost because there was a stint in New Mexico for 6 months that that had its own set of problems. There are so many things being a Sacramento native
Amen.
that I am fully prepared for. There are certain things that as a California native I am fully prepared for. Mostly that's earthquakes and floods if you're in the Sacramento Valley. But the fact that the fire has gotten that close just a couple of years in between each other um is mind-boggling to me. Mostly because as we found out with the lightning complex fires of, was that last year?
Yes.
Yeah. Shit can go up quick in the city. It's not as wooded here, and the houses are literally built on top of each other now. So it's just like a matchbook ready to go. And I don't know why other people aren't as concerned about this as I am, considering some of these people are driving in from other parts of, surrounding areas like Vacaville and shit like that. Shit, places that were on fire not too long ago themselves, and they're just like, "Oh, well, if you guys took care of your forests, you wouldn't have this problem." Bitch, you were on fire last year. You ain't got forests. Vacaville is nothing but grasslands. And your shit was on fire.
Tell me to fucking care for my shit. Care for your own fucking shit.
That
I get it.
bad.
I get the frustration. Um, when it comes to forest management, yes, it's on the federal government to manage the federal forests, the the national parks and um, the national forest that we have, like in El Dorado County, the El Dorado County National Forest. It's closed down. Um,
Shit's on fire. It's not closed down. It's burning.
well, yes, it's burning down, but they shut it down for the time being. The problem with the Calder fire is that it started in an area that did have poor forest management, but it wasn't really on anybody because the area that it started, you really couldn't manage. It starts in these deep gorges and valleys that we can't get any people down in there. Um, so Grizzly itself, Grizzly Flats, was actually pretty well maintained.
Right.
As far as management goes, everybody had fire breaks around their houses. Um, everything was cleared. It didn't matter. The fire was so hot and so fast at that point. I mean, it burned through Grizzly like it was nothing.
Yeah, the friend in particular that I'm talking about, she had like half an hour warning that there might be evacuation, and then like within that half an hour span, they had to go.
Yeah.
She left everything behind.
Yeah, my sister and their family, they took off as soon as the fire started because they knew they were prepared. So they loaded up their Jeeps, loaded up the dog, loaded up the kid, and they booked it the hell out of there. They still lost everything because you can only take so much with you. But
Right.
I don't know if did you see the picture that I posted of what was left?
I did not. I'm looking for it now because I will admit I have not been on Facebook very
They
much.
they had an over 2,500 square foot home. All that's left is a few pieces of metal.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it was amazing.
Oh wow. It was a beautiful house.
It was a really nice house. It had a outstanding view, and it was just it was on a nice piece of property. But like I said, when the fire is burning that hot and you've got a wind behind it that's just blowing it like a jet,
Yeah.
you can't do anything. You just have to let it go. Firefighters did what they could, and I actually got really mad at somebody because he came out and he was like, "Oh well, it looks like the firefighters aren't doing much of anything." I'm like, you know what, fucker? You go out there and fucking help them. They're doing the best that they fucking can.
Yeah.
They work
Oh, what
one of
the
the most
fuck?
dangerous jobs in the world, especially as a firefighter in California, a
Right.
woodland firefighter in California. So
And
I tore into this dude.
we only have so many Cal Fire firefighters. And for those who are watching, I don't think there are a lot of them, but those who might go back and watch this, Cal Fire firefighters are vastly different than the firefighters that you deal with, like your house is burning down. Okay, they those are different firefighters. Cal firefighters go through extensive and rigorous training, and to even get into Cal Fire, you still have to have fought wildfire and forest fires before you even got hired. So like there's a lot of volunteer positions that get snatched up. Yes, husband Chris was a firefighter with Cal Fire, and he had to do quite a bit of volunteer work before he could actually get hired by them because they need the experience. They can't just put
Right.
greenies out.
Well, so that goes back to the whole. I am in fully support of prisoners when they get out of jail. If they were doing wildlife support while they were in prison, let them join Cal Fire.
Right.
Cal Fire doesn't allow them to currently, or
Because
because they're a
they've
felon.
got a record.
Yeah,
Stupid.
but
Well,
they
I
have the
know
experience already. They've been
in
doing it. Let them do it and get paid for it.
so for those who haven't come across this, uh, couple actually this was like a couple of decades ago. Um, there was some massive fires going around here in the valley. I think it was actually close to Napa and Berryessa area. But in Woodland, while we were having one of our SEA events, we had half of the Woodland Fairgrounds because the other half were taken over by the California Department of Corrections.
Yep.
Because they had like I think it was like over 5,000 prisoner volunteers to help fight the wildfires. Um,
Getting no
and
pay
these
for
guys,
it.
they don't get paid for it. They're out there working regular crews with CAL FIRE or firefighters, and then they get turned out. And some of these guys have done it year after year. Like it's like a good behavior type stint. Um, but they don't get paid for it. And then I will agree that that would be a great place to like just recruit more CAL FIRE firefighters. Obviously, California is not going to not be on fire.
And we
I
need
mean,
more firefighters. I mean, a lot of areas don't have enough of the manpower. They have to call from everywhere else. Like my
right,
neighbors, both of them are firefighters and they have small kids, but they have missed almost every single holiday and every single Christmas because there's always fires and
Yeah.
you can't call in sick as a
right,
firefighter. I
right.
mean, if you call in sick a lot, they're just going to fire you. Get it? Because you're not a reliable firefighter. And they went down to LA a lot during all those LA fires, and they were up in Paradise last year or year before. Oh, fuck, dude.
Two
Fuck,
years.
dude.
No, it was almost three
Shit's
years
been
now.
3 years now. Oh my
Yep.
god, it's been a really rough 3 years. So
Yeah,
shit. But Paradise just had another fire too. I mean,
Well, that was the
I
Dixie
heard about
fire, and it
that.
blew north.
Right.
I'm considering it another Paradise fire because it's so close.
Well, and it started
Yeah.
Was
like half a mile from where the campfire started. It was
right.
really close, but it blew in the opposite direction. So that was good for Paradise because they're still rebuilding.
I know. I was very thankful when Mom decided to sell her property because she didn't want to. She couldn't deal with the aftermath of Paradise's campfire.
Well, she's still
Like,
up there, but Abigail and her husband are moving to Washington, and then once Margaret gets settled, then I think she's going up there as well, but she's
yeah,
staying behind for right now. Um,
yeah. It's just like that's one of the things. Californians were really tenacious. We'll put up with the floods. We'll put up with the earthquakes. We'll put up with the fires. But at a certain point, like the- part of my frustration is we're already in a housing crisis here uh, in California, specifically here in Northern California in the Valley. Um, and like yeah, these people will have their land, but that land is not going to be usable for 3, 4 years, maybe even 5. And even though that they have their land and they're going to get an insurance payout, it's not going to pay them the value of the house that was there. They're not going to be able to rebuild anywhere with it.
yeah,
And then they're not going to be able to sell the land for anywhere near a fair market value. So what's going to happen? Developers going to come in, snatch it up because it'll be pennies on the acre, and okay, now we have even more of a housing problem because they literally will build houses on top of each other to make most profit out of that space. It's just one fuckery thing after another, in my opinion.
Pressing.
speaking of insurance, though, and this is the really shitty part. So my sister and her husband, they had fire insurance. Great. They are lucky that they still had it because, from what I understand, everybody in Pollock Pines lost their fire insurance. It was just yanked.
I'm not surprised.
What the
To be
fuck?
perfectly
It's
honest,
too high
I'm not
risk.
surprised because that's what happened to those in Louisiana, in New Orleans after Katrina.
Yep.
Like the the insurance companies were like, "Yeah, you have flood insurance, but you don't have hurricane insurance, so we're not going to pay it out."
Yeah, they'll
Or
either do that
we're not
or they'll yank it after the fact because they know if it happens again, the
right.
company's going to go bankrupt because they have to pay everybody out.
Everybody out. They pay one person out, they have to pay everybody out.
It shouldn't
And
be
I
legal then to
know
run that shit.
no, I believe that insurance in general is just a legal racket. And it really is just a legal fucking racket. Um, you're never gonna get out of it what you pay into it, and in some places you are required to have it, and that's just absolutely bug nuts. I know
Required to
those
have
two.
driver's insurance here in California? It's a
Yes,
requirement, right? Yeah,
yes.
stupid.
Um, uh,
Let me sue
like
your
in
ass.
Paradise, I know that was something. I think I saw that in the Paradise Netflix
I couldn't watch it.
documentary.
I couldn't watch it.
It made me cry. It really did make me cry. Uh, because they were saying, yeah, now these areas we can't get wildfire or forest fire insurance on our houses.
Right.
There's no houses to insure, but even if there were, we're not going to get that insurance. They're not going to pay it out. If they are going to pay it out, it's going to take years. So really, what's the point?
I went up there when I worked for PG&E to, you know, to take a look,
Mhm.
and I made it to Chico because you couldn't go up the road that goes to Paradise. It was all
Right.
closed off. But even in between Oroville and Chico, it was, a burned wasteland.
Um,
And I will give props to the PG&E linemen. They are first responders. They're out there, and I have pictures of it. They were out there with the fields still burning, taking
wow.
poles down.
All right,
I
yeah. Props to them for
I
in the
still
field.
have
Shit, they're not the company. They're the fucking
Right.
front
Well, they're
first
required to
responders.
go in
Yeah.
before the firefighters and take all the poles down, or at least get the power cut so that the fires can go in there and not die. At least
right.
not
That's
die from
very.
electricity.
I still have the videos my sister sent of them stuck in the van in the line out of Paradise.
Oh yeah. I have
The
so many friends up
timestamp,
there. It's ridiculous, I saw
the t-
horrible pictures and videos.
the timestamp said 12 noon, and you couldn't even see the car in front of them.
Yeah.
It was,
It was like being in Mordor or something.
yeah. She said that like when she was driving out that it was so hot that she told the kids to stop crying and stop talking because the air was just so thin inside the cabin of the
Yeah,
van,
I can't
and they
imagine
couldn't.
what their cabin filters look like after that, because I just had mine changed,
Mhm.
and that was after not having them changed for 2 years. So it had 2 years of smoke and crap that it was collecting. They came out black. I was like,
Oh my
holy shit!
gosh.
I've been breathing that.
Right.
Hey, check
Yeah,
mine.
the last couple of weeks have just been one of those things where like I, I've I've been trying really hard to stay inside. And even then, like, we have the air conditioner going, but like in the back of my mind was like, yeah, the air filters are not, they're not HEMA filters. They're not gonna keep anything out. These are very basic filters. They're gonna keep large particulates out and collect the dust. They're not really keeping the smoke out, you know.
So I have actually a pretty good HEPA air purifier that we
HEPA,
use
that's what I meant.
in the house, and it was cheap. It was actually one of the so I got fancy with it. I had to buy an Alexa enabled one, but so I can turn it on and off, and adjust it with voice commands.
Hey,
But it was, even for all
Alexa.
that enabled, it was actually, I think it was under $100.
Oh,
So, and then you just, the filters last about 3 to 4 months depending on the AQI, and then you just replace the filters, and the filters are like $15 a pop. So
I love my air purifier. I have no clue what brand it is. I didn't buy it. My mom gave it to me.
mine is a
It was my
Leviote.
grandma's. Now mine. Leviote.
Leviote.
Mine is I call it blue buttons because it's got blue buttons. So it's blue button. That's its name. It's over there. I can't even see it. It's nice though.
Yeah,
I've noticed the difference.
I named my air supply. So every time
Ooh.
there have been times where Alexa's been
Ooh,
like,
toot.
"Oh, you want to play air supply?" I'm like, "No."
All right,
I
Kayla,
like that Alexa one.
what's your next mini rant?
Oh, I've got so many. Oh, I'd like to mini rant about myself. Actually, this is actually a good one. So let me rant about AT&T first. So I've been ranting about my service with AT&T. This isn't going to be negative to them, so they can't sue us at all. I first thought it was them who was fucking my Disney app up. Every time I would go to Disney, it would never work. Like, I could never use my fucking pass, nothing, right? And I thought, it was just because I go down to LA, maybe they're throttling my data, because I use so much or whatever. Because a lot of times I'd go near the end of the month anyway, like near the end of my month cycle. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just that. So I'd get so booty tickled every time I'd go in. I'd be like, God, my data never fucking works in LA, right? It never works here. And I went last time, and I'd like to rant that I'm fucking stupid and I need to check my settings to make sure that my cellular data is on for Disneyland for 4 years or whatever. My cellular data wasn't on for that app. And yeah, I went in there. I don't know why. I just sparked. I was like, oh, maybe I'll check the cellular data, even though I've never gone and turned it off. Apparently I did. I looked at my friend and I said, Nadine, because I was pissed, right? And I was like, because I hadn't been to Disneyland ever, and I finally go again, and it's still fucked up, right? And it's a brand new phone, so I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, Nadine, I'm a fucking idiot. Why am I stupid?
So. I've made that mistake too, though. I just haven't let it gone on for so long.
I know how. That's why I'm so like, oh, that's my mini rant. Why was I dumb? But it made I've been learning recently. Deep rest. Don't get mad at things right away. When you do it calmly, you'll figure it out.
Oh, did you? It might have been that you turned it off from data so that because it probably runs in the background all the time. And then it just never because you only you used to go quite regularly, right?
I used to go I used to try to go once a month. It turned out to be like once every couple months, But I still used my pass like almost every month. I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth. Shit.
Like if you turned it off at a spur of a moment thing and didn't make a conscious decision to remind yourself that it was off, even waiting like 2 weeks, you could have totally forgotten. For fuck's sake, I went around without my glasses today because I forgot that I had taken them off my face, put them down on the outside shelves. Okay, so I could talk to Brett yesterday and have an ass end of a cigarette. I went looking for them this morning. Could not find them. Went all day without them. Could not see very well and had a splitting headache. Got home. There they fucking are. Because it was a spur of the moment thing. That's all I'm trying to get with that.
Well, it's not as bad as you losing your phone and then calling your mom on said phone to find the phone. Did that like a week ago. I said, Mom, I can't find my phone. She was like, what are you calling me on? And I said, my phone. Oh.
Yeah. But were you high?
I was sober.
That was super my next question.
I was super sober. Like, ooh. I was just like, ooh, it's bad. It's really dumb. So at least you didn't have that.
Cliff, what about you? What's your next mini rant? This actually feels really good. I don't know about you guys, but this feels really good. I'm having fun with this, bitching about things.
Let me think. I have a lot of things that I can rant about in the SCA right now, but I'm not going to.
Pull your posts. We could talk afterwards if you want.
I'm getting the hell out of my garage after we're done because it's hot as balls in here.
That's true.
It looks pretty hot.
Yeah, I've got a fan blowing. I've got both doors open to let some, flow go through, but I want to rant about my neighbor's dogs. I love dogs. I am a dog person. Dogs love me. I want to smother my neighbor's dogs with a fucking pillowcase.
The Chihuahuas?
No.
So
they're
any kind of small dog.
They're like a Jack Russell mix. And he's got like 10 of them.
Oh.
Which is 6 over the Roseville limit. And they bark incessantly. They drive Torvi up the wall. They drive Odin up the wall. I have to bring him in when they start barking because he'll attack the fence and try and get to them. Not to attack them, but he wants to play with them. And he's almost taken down the fence a couple times. Torvi will sit there and bark at them from in the house. But yeah, their dogs drive me freaking batshit. I went over there to drop off a piece of mail that we had received, and one of their kids opened the door, and I'm looking inside this house. This is, I don't know if you remember, Christina, the house to the right of ours. So.
Your house, it's to the right?
Yes.
Okay.
The house should be condemned.
Yeah.
It's they have like 4 cars in their yard constantly. They don't have a garage door. Somebody tried to burn their house down at one point.
What the shit is going on with that house?
Fuck.
Because there's really nice houses down the side streets.
But well, our house would be nice too if I took better care of the yard. But right now it's just But no, the inside of his house is a wreck, or their house is a wreck. I know it has mold issues, and the fact that he has 10 dogs in there, right. And I think there's cats in there, and he's got like 3 kids and his wife, and they are super Trump supporters.
Sounds like a charmer.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's friendly. We talk occasionally. They're always having garage sales because they're trying to get rid of shit. But it doesn't.
Dumpster.
Right? Well, he's like, we have all these garage sales because I want to. We have these garage sales because we want to move to a free state. I'm like, okay, what's your classification of a free state? It's like Idaho. I'm like, okay. Move to a Mormon state. See what it's like.
Their weed isn't even like free. You can't even do weed there.
Their alcohol rules in Idaho are wonky too because it's a Mormon
state. My cousin
state.
just got a ranger job offer in there. I said, good luck.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't understand. I really don't. They're renters. Both of the houses on the other side of us are renters. The guy to the left of us is actually Section 8. But he's a nice guy. He's a biker, and he has 1 dog that, we hardly ever see. So that's fine. So yeah, it's just my neighbor's dogs. They piss me off. I love dogs. These dogs need to, I hate to say it, die in a fire.
Well, if they're over the limit, just call on them.
Yeah,
you don't care about what happens to the dogs, just call on them.
I've thought about it, but I've hated when people have narked on my dog. Because that's happened.
These aren't dogs; these are beasts.
So when we lived at our old house in West Park, we had our husky Skya. She didn't bark at shit. You could look over the fence, and she would look at you and talk, go wow, 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 wow. But it wasn't, aggressive or anything like that, and it wasn't loud. We had 2 notices from animal control stating that people were complaining about our dog being too loud. I'm like, okay, you sure it's not the 2 pit bulls that are next door? Because it's not my dog. But they're like, well, we're gonna fine you. Is your dog registered? I'm like, no, but I think dog registration's BS. But
I agree.
I think pet registration is BS, to be honest.
I agree.
It's just another thing that, the city wants to tax you on. Yeah. Which, I'm not anti-tax, but I like to know where my taxes are going. And I have no idea where animal control taxes go.
Yeah.
You would think they would go to the local shelter, but I'm not sure if they do.
Yeah. They probably don't.
But anyways.
Most of them run on donations.
Yeah.
It's a mini rant on top of a mini rant.
Right.
Fucking
well, and I actually like how the Roseville SPCA is run. They're really good. They're doing a really good job. They're a no-kill shelter. They get their animals adopted pretty well, um, and they're way better than the Sac County shelters, except for First Street. First Street Animal Shelter is actually pretty good too, because they're a no-kill shelter. Um, or First Street, Front Street. Sorry, Front Street. Um,
Okay.
but yeah.
I'm gonna take it to a personal thing because I wanted to tell you guys about this shit. So my rant is about boundaries and the family members who routinely and joyfully decide to trample on them. Um, I know I've talked to you guys about my gran before. Kayla was there for this. So my gran had a supposed mold problem, and we went up there to help take care of said mold problem. Plan for taking care of this mold problem was go into said room, remove everything that was not metal or plastic that basically could not be dunked into a bucket of bleach water, and throw that non-bleachable thing away. Because if it was black mold, then of course these, you know, absorbable materials were toxic and then just should not be around humans or animals for that matter. Um, Now, my gran lives in a double wide manufactured home. She turned one of the three bedrooms in said home into a walk in closet. And then she turned one, I think the only window actually, in said bedroom into the inlet for her swamp cooler. This room has been a walk in closet for over 30 years. And like 3, 4 years ago, she realized there was some suspicious mold in the actual closet portion of this room. Things came to a head, and she was supposedly going to sell this house. Now, I told her the state of California can't just sell a house with black mold without telling someone. But she didn't want to pay for the inspection, and somebody just put down an offer. All very sketchy things. Um, but anywho, being the dutiful granddaughter, I dragged my husband and one of my best friends up to go take care of this for her and get her at least in the towards the steps of getting moved into wherever the hell she was going to go. I told her very upfront, very first thing I told her, we're only going to do this once, so we need to maximize the time that we're there. We're going to all get up early, start early, because where she's at in rural Northern California, it gets very hot very quickly. And there was no way in hell we were going to be able to turn on the swamp cooler to do whatever amount of work it was going to be able to do to combat said heat while we were working, because that would just spread more black mold around. We got up there at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. We warned her about a half an hour before we got to her door that we were going to lose self service and we were almost there. This bitch put on a movie and waited for us and then made us watch the movie and told me while we were all trying to relax because Brett, Kayla, and I had been up and working all day, um, and well past our bedtime, told me that, oh, my friend is just going to take all of those clothes and wash them. So we're not going to actually do anything with the clothes in there that is contaminated with possible black mold. Brett and I had a sidebar outside. I decided, nope, nope, nope. That was the whole reason to come up. Like, I guess we could possibly help her start packing them. Like, but we're not going to do anything with that room. If we can't get rid of the things in there, then there's no point in going in there at all, because that was the whole purpose. We get up 7:30, 8 o'clock. We're all dressed. She's not awake. This bitch had started another movie. Okay, we didn't even go to bed until like 1:30. She had started another movie and then noped out. Like, okay, bye, kids. I'm gonna go to bed. We all wake up. We're all dressed. We're all trying to decide what to do. She's still not up. 9 o'clock, we're all standing around the cars. We've already packed up all of our stuff because, like, we're not going to stay another night. We've already decided that we're not going to stay another night. But now it's already 9 o'clock and it's like 80 degrees outside. And even if she had gotten up right then and there, actually, if she had gotten up at 9 o'clock, we probably would have stayed. But she didn't. So by 9:30, we left. We left. Because I wasn't going to put Brett through that. I was sure as hell not going to put my friend who just decided, hey, I'm going to be an extra set of hands because, like, why not? Sure, I'll be that kind of friend. I can do that. I'll take a 3-hour road trip and then, work my ass off for a three
Fuck
hour
it.
road trip back. Why not? Yeah, you're buying me snacks. Why not? I wasn't going to put them through that. Gran could jerk me around, but she wasn't going to jerk other people around. I had made that decision, and she decided she didn't care. So I wrote her a note and left, and I haven't talked to her since.
She since still.
Still.
Woo. Nice.
Still. That was like a month ago.
It's okay. I made this for you just now. It says it's okay to say no. Let them help themselves.
She really does need to help herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for some
Because
reason,
shit.
like, for some reason, the idea that she is responsible for her own fate, like, no matter how many times I told her, like, the reason you are in the place you are now is because of the decisions you made prior, just never, like, clicked. And from what I hear from my uncle, who, by the way, loves you, he's like, let that girl come up whenever she wants. I'll do barbecue.
Food. Oh, I'll bring some barbecue sauce. The homemade stuff.
He was like, yeah, she's going nuts. She, there's apparently a fire on her mountain, and I called the fire chief, and the fire chief said that fire happened 2 months ago. I don't know what your mother's talking about, but we've got her number, so, like, we know all about her and her tales and all. Like,
Your grandma's the village crazy.
I get I think Brett hit the nail on the head when he said this was just the only excuse she could come up with to get us to visit. But I don't know who in their right mind would actually stick around to be treated like that. And it still comes to mind, like, the audacity. The audacity. Like, the audacity.
I know, that's pretty fucking wild.
You were there. And,
I
like,
know.
Like,
I know.
I can't wrap my mind around that this happened, except for that I'm feeling so much better every week because I don't have to make that weekly call where I hear about how everyone is horrible, nobody loves her, how she just wishes she had died
It's
already,
me.
and she's sorry that she's leaving me with all this stuff to do, and I'm just like, I don't
Okay.
know that now. My uncle was like, when are you gonna send that paperwork? And I was like, I don't know. It needs to get sent back though. And he was like, oh, I'm just imagining the bullshit that will happen once that goes through. We think she's still calling Brett because, oh, the best part, Cliff, she didn't even call me. She called Brett and left him like a 3-minute message. She ran the tape out on his voicemail. And I think she's still trying to trap him into picking up the phone. She hasn't called me though. She hasn't called me at all.
The voicemail was like, I'm sorry, but
She was like, I planned this and I did this and I was gonna make this and I
Shit.
need the help. I
My
don't
bad.
understand. I thought we were just gonna visit for a little bit like we always do. And I looked at Brett when he was playing this voicemail over the speaker. I was like, bitch knew we weren't coming to visit. Bitch knew we were coming to work.
She
She
knew this wasn't a fun time.
And the timestamp was like 5 minutes after we left.
Oh, jeez.
She probably was awake. She just didn't want to
That bitch
come out.
was awake. That bitch was awake.
Dumbass.
I'm pretty sure she had gotten up early to make that corned beef because that corned beef was
Oh,
not
that's
out
right.
before. It was not cooking the night before. She had like 2 crock pots going with corned beef and cabbage and potatoes and shit like that. And I was like, it smells like fucking corned beef in here. And we were pulling our bags out to the car, and I was like, that bitch better not be trying to trap me with some corned beef because I can be trapped with some fucking corned beef.
She was trying.
She did try.
She failed.
I rolled my dex save on that one, okay?
Yeah,
And
you were lucky there.
slipped out.
Ooh.
Oh, man. I have to say, I really enjoyed the fact that we got to have another show.
I know, me too.
I know life got in the way for the last month. But
all
I'm
that-
really happy that
All that beginning school bullshit that I have to go through with my kids. So.
And like getting a new job, making sure my schedule's right.
well, and then I had some days where I was just like, I can't function around. I cannot be. This is one of the things that I don't understand. Like when people are having a bad day, I don't understand how that person can then take it out on another person, and I try very hard not to do that. I know I'm probably not a rule on that. Like I'm beginning to see that I'm not the rule. Like I'm probably the exception
You're not
because
the example. Is that what you mean?
no, like I am the exception, not the rule. Because a lot of what I'm dealing with almost on a weekly basis now is that people will take out their stress on other people, and I'm not built that way. I try very hard not to do that to Brett. I know I vent to him, and I'm sorry that I vent to him, and I don't mean to sound upset to him when I am venting. Other people just straight take his shit out on others. I don't want to be that bitch. So there was a couple of times where I was like, I'm not fit to talk to other people right now because I didn't want to be that bitch.
Because fuck you. No, I can't send that.
Right.
Because.
No, I knew myself I was gonna be a short-tempered kind of, and I wanted to talk sincerely about whatever topic we have because I like our discussions. I really, really like our discussions. And I don't want them to become bogged down with my own petty bullshit. So I was just like, I'm gonna say no today.
Yeah. That's okay. I felt that was rough last few weeks for me too. I packed too much on my table, so that was that.
It was a really rough summer, and I've of course also been worried about Cliff being out there in the garage, which means that we need to wrap this up. So,
Eventually I'm gonna tell you about my fun time in the woods. I had a very fun trip. Very fun.
Did it involve psilocybin or anything like that?
It did, yeah. It actually did. Good guess. Good guess. It was a lot of fun.
Or is this a story time for next episode?
Oh, maybe even next episode we could talk about it. It was a lot of fun. I foraged like a motherfucker too. I was like, moss.
Why didn't you call me? I have the Northwestern mushroom book. Remember, we were gonna.
I was in the middle of nowhere. No service. It was at Cherry Lake.
Oh, okay.
There was nothing up there.
Next time.
Next time we'll go.
Right.
There's nothing up there. There's no water.
I'm gonna go and make some BLTs. I love you both. I've missed your faces.
I missed you too.
And let's get together sometime this week and talk about what our episode is going to be next week.
I want everyone to know that you need to follow your dreams because life is too short to give an ounce of a fuck. Okay?
Very poignant. You should put that in your bullet journal.
It's going in there. And if someone touches you without consent, stab them.
Send me a picture of those. I'll make them stickers for you.
Okay, I will. I will send them.
Right. I love you guys. You have a
Love
good
you.
go enjoy
Good night.
your dinner.
Bye.
Go enjoy the cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
yeah.
go drink a beer. Is what I'm gonna do.